Today's webinar, Explorations in Sitecore, is presented by Ethel Crosby, Patrick Schweizer, and Mike Skutta. Ethel is the head of technology operations here at One North, responsible for the management and execution of leading digital technology solutions and software product management. Mike is a One North architect within the Technology Labs group at One North, researching, testing, and integrating new technologies for both One North and its clients. With that, I'll turn it over to Ethel to kick us off.
Thanks, Kayla, for the introduction. For those of you who don't already know us at One North Interactive, we are a full-service digital agency headquartered in Chicago. We provide brand, creative, strategy, and technology services, including implementation, managed hosting, and support. We have a lot of Sitecore experience, including over 30 live Sitecore sites hosted in Microsoft Azure. We're a Sitecore Solutions Gold implementation partner, as well as a Sitecore hosting partner. For more information about One North, you can visit us at our website at onenorth.com. Also presenting with us today is Patrick Schweizer, Director of Product Marketing at Sitecore. Patrick's been with Sitecore for 4 years and helped form the Sales Enablement team. He's been in the digital marketing space for over 10 years in roles ranging from purely technical to marketing strategy and sales. We're here today to talk about Sitecore because over the past few years, Sitecore has really evolved into more than just a content management system and into more of a customer experience platform. If your website is currently on Sitecore today, or if you're interested in upgrading to the latest version, it's time to consider how to make the most of your investment. We'll start today by going through an overview of Sitecore's latest features, and then we'll walk through a user journey to tell the story of a customer and B2B company using Sitecore to deliver relevant and engaging experiences. We'll then wrap up by going through the technical underpinnings around managed hosting so that you're aware of the benefits and the disaster recovery options available. Patrick will start us off by going through the Sitecore experience platform and talk about the latest features. Patrick?
Thank you, Ethel, very much. And before I get started, I'm actually going to spend a bulk of my time going through a lot of the new features of the Sitecore Experience Platform 8. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about context. Sitecore 8 was built around the ability to basically provide the correct context for your customers. It's simply overwhelming to see how much context surrounds a single customer. You can see from this image on the right-hand side, we have things like emails and mobile apps and online stores and call centers. To truly gain understanding of the customer and to be able to talk to them in a very contextual way, we need to understand quite a bit about them. Those internal business systems that hold all of that contextual information is overwhelming. Integrating all of those systems together is even more overwhelming. A lot of them are completely disparate technologies. They don't talk to each other well. And it's also very difficult to grab that data out of those different systems when you need it in areas like the website or a mobile application. The true answer is connecting them all together and, more importantly, only pulling the data that really makes sense to understand the context of the customer. And that's really where the new Experience Database sits in. So the Experience Database is a new capability that is part of Sitecore 8. And what it does is it holds all of that experience data that we capture from within Sitecore, but most importantly from external systems, even such as CRM. So we take all of that data, we put it into a central repository. Sitecore can very easily access that data to do things like personalization, marketing automation, and to also use all that information in analytics, right in line with the different actions that they're performing on the website. So we can combine all that information together and, again, truly understand how to talk to the customer in a contextual way. So I want to zoom back a little bit before we get into the new features of Sitecore 8 and talk about the platform in general. This is a great infographic that really shows all of the different pieces of Sitecore as it stands. And I'll start from the top and work my way down. On the top, these are the usual suspects when we talk about digital channels. We all probably recognize most of them. The two on the right side are the newest to Sitecore, both Commerce and Federated. Commerce is part of an acquisition that we have with commerceserver.net. And on the right-hand side is Federated, and we'll be talking a lot more about the Federated Experience Manager later on. But that's really the capability of injecting Sitecore managed content into non-Sitecore sites. Working our way down, we have our management level. So this is where all that traditional content management is done. Obviously, with the commerce element, introducing things like product information management, as well as digital assets. The middle layer is called Sitecore AIDA, stands for Analytics, Insights, Decisions, and Automation. This is the brain of Sitecore. You know, this is where all that number crunching happens. This is where all the analytics reports are generated. This is where a lot of the insights and decisions are created. And then below that is that experience database, and most importantly is the integration down on the bottom. So you see CRM there as a principal piece of integration. On our Sitecore.net website, that's the thing that we integrated first, was our CRM system, because it had so much valuable information about, about customers' past purchases, about their offline interactions with our call center, about any kind of support incidents that have come up along the way. And there's also other candidates for integration, things like ERP systems or any other line of business system that really is pertinent to understand or to create better experiences for the customer. So getting into the features of Sitecore 8, this is the first one. So this is a new report to us. It's called the Sitecore Experience Profile. And so this is basically a way of cracking the hood of Sitecore Experience Database. This shows us exactly what's inside from a data perspective. For those database developers out there, this is a data dictionary or a visual data dictionary. It's going to show us things like, simple things like how many times have they been to the site. It's going to show us the types of content that they prefer. It's going to show us their social activities. It's going to show basically anything that they're doing or any way that they're interacting with Sitecore. But this is also going to show those external data integrations in there as well. We can put things in here that query things like Bizio and show us more information about their business if it's a B2B customer. We can put information in here that comes directly from CRM, obviously. This is really a canvas for the Sitecore developers and the marketers to create an interface that makes the most sense. So when they go in there, they can understand this customer even better. One of the most powerful parts of this feature is the timeline up on the top. This shows their entire history with you as a brand, all the way from not really knowing who they are, all the way to them becoming a repeat customer. So switching gears a little bit, this is what everyone sees when they log into Sitecore right now. This is what we call the Launchpad. And on the Launchpad, we have things very simple, like the icons up at the top, but we also have some reports down the bottom. What we want to do is have this be the most productive area as possible for a marketer. When they come in here, they only see the buttons that are applicable to them, and they also see a report down the bottom that gives them instant information that they're looking for. It doesn't require them to click multiple steps into the application to really get some instant value from Sitecore. Now, when people hear context or contextual marketing or showing things in context of the customer, at least for me, my mind instantly goes to personalization. Personalization is that feature that enables contextual content to be shown to our customer. Now, in Sitecore, every single possible component can be personalized, and that's a real, that's a real differentiator for us in a pretty crowded industry. Now, with Sitecore 8, what we've done is we've added on the ability to measure the performance of these different personalization conditions. In the past, we've had great tools around personalization. We have the Sitecore rules editor in which a marketer can set up any kind of condition that they see fit. But the problem is that they really never knew if these conditions or these personalization rules that they were putting out there were yielding a positive or a negative effect. Now, in that same vein, we have the Experience Explorer, which they can set up all of these different experiences and personalization rules and content and pages and so forth. And they can go in here and see exactly what it's going to look like to the end customer prior to publishing. They can choose personas on the left-hand side, and the site will completely change depending upon the rules and again, the conditions that have been put on the page. And then the right-hand side, we get to actually see the way that Sitecore is interpreting this visitor. We can see things like visit information, where they're coming from, if we're getting some geo-IP information about them. We can see what kind of content classification we're putting them in as they navigate through the site. Again, this is a great way of simulating the entire site as a marketer before we put it out there to the general public. And this is just another view of the personalization or the rule set editor. One thing that has been enhanced, this quite a bit with Sitecore 8 is the fact that we've introduced so much more data in the experience database. All of the data that I showed in the experience profile report is fair game to use in here. We have rules that access that data, whether it be local Sitecore data or something that's coming from an external system, it doesn't matter. We can use it in the native rules editor, and we can have that be as have that data be as high value to the customer and to the marketer. We also use that rules editor within the new list segmentation tool in Sitecore. So we are able to create rich dynamic segments now. We can create a bunch of rules based off of, again, the usual suspects, what kind of content they prefer, when they've last been to the site. Up here on the screen, we have where they're coming from as far as their physical or geolocation. We can use all of the different rules that we had in the personalization to create these rich segments. And then we can use the segments in things like Email Experience Manager or even to create marketing automation plans. Now, speaking of Email Experience Manager, we've made some big changes to our email campaign manager, or our email interface over the years. We basically have made sure that we are on parity with some of the big enterprise email solutions that are on the market right now. We've introduced features such as content testing within the email itself. We have a whole nest of reports in here that tell us exactly the performance or how our emails are doing once they leave Sitecore. And most importantly, we're actually connecting all of these emails back to the customer's interactions that they're having with the website or the mobile site. We're painting the complete picture around all of the different experiences that a customer are having with your brand. Email tends to be this thing that a lot of organizations have as a separate system or a third-party solution or service. And the problem is you really don't get that full picture of the customer because the email campaigns are critical to understanding exactly what types of content and what things the customers are reacting to. I spoke before about marketing automation. We call it experience automation. So this is where we're going to create those nurture campaigns. Again, we can use all of that rich data that we have within the XDB to create these different nurture marketing automation plans and basically drive people to becoming repeat customers. We have a whole new analytics engine for Sitecore 8. What we've done with the analytics reporting within Sitecore 8 is we've made sure that all of the reports that marketers expect to see are there. We haven't gone too far ahead and basically left some of the reports that they really expect to see every day to make sure that their site is in good health. Things like average duration, you can see on this, bounce rate, visits and value and conversions and so forth. These are the things that marketers want to see every day. And then we've gone a step beyond and put in some of the more intuitive reports that we think that would give them a high degree of value. One of those new reports is what we call the Path Analyzer. So the Path Analyzer, and this is just a glimpse of it, kind of looks like a large spider web, and it shows exactly the different paths that folks are taking to navigate through your site. And most importantly, by showing the green and the red coloring, it's actually showing you if these paths are being successful or not. So the darker green signifies that they're adding more value to your organization. The red means that maybe they're leaving on that page, and that's not such a good thing, and we want to figure out why that page is causing folks to abandon the site. Now, testing and optimization, again, all new for Sitecore 8. Testing actually has two faces to it. It has a very simple face, and it has more of an advanced interface. The simple face is for that day-to-day content author. This is that content author that goes in, they make a few changes, they save and they publish and they leave. Now instead of just publishing, now they can publish with tests, which is really nice because even if they're making a small change to the page, we can have Sitecore do a simple content test comparing the new version of the page to the previous version. It may seem like an insignificant change, but we don't know if it's yielding a positive or negative result until we run a test. And that's what this is doing. It really is one-click testing. And then we have the more advanced interface where the advanced dedicated content tester can do things like test a specific piece of a page or a different little ad or a tiny image and understand exactly what people are doing after they see that page very specifically. Are they triggering a certain campaign? Are they buying a product or signing up for a service? What exactly are they doing after they leave that? And at a very granular level, the advanced tester can understand and make fine-tuning adjustments to the site to make sure it's the most optimized. And last but not least, we have the Federated Experience Manager. I mentioned this briefly in the beginning, but this is, again, a new feature for Sitecore 8. It lets us inject Sitecore content into non-Sitecore sites. It uses a JavaScript library to do that, so it's just a one-line JavaScript tag that goes into the code of the non-Sitecore site. And we're able to take control of the page and inject content in certain content regions of that page. The other thing that we're able to do is actually start collecting data from that page and putting it back into the experience database. The two big scenarios that we see for the Federated Experience Manager are one, migration, and two, integration. So migration, we see companies and organizations that basically have an incumbent content management system. It's going to take a long time to maybe transition to Sitecore. This is a way of doing it in an iterative process. The other thing that it does from a migration perspective is it lets us start collecting data on day one. So if we put a tag on a non-Sitecore site, the day that we install Sitecore on the servers, we can start collecting data. And then once we actually deploy our Sitecore site, we'll have a huge wealth of data, experience data that's ready to do things like personalize and create those engagement plans. So from an integration perspective, we also see customers with things like B2B portals and so forth. They're not ready to replace those and actually really don't want to replace those because they're specialized pieces of software or applications that were custom written or perform a certain task. They want to have Sitecore host the actual website but keep these portals in full operation. This is a great way of integrating content into those portals without having to have Sitecore host the entire portal itself. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to Ethel, and she's going to talk a little bit about how to get started.
Thanks, Patrick. Patrick covered a lot of great features of Sitecore, which all sound amazing. However, they can be a little overwhelming at first, and you may not know where to begin. However, if you plan for it and get in there, start with the understanding that it is steps. First, familiarize yourself with the new features of Sitecore. There's a lot of great resources out there, including Sitecore's documentation site, doc.sitecore.net. Another great resource is Master Sitecore, Sitecore's education YouTube channel, which has a lot of short videos to help you get up to speed. OneNorth can also help with your consulting and training needs. Next, try to keep it simple. Focus on quick wins. Think about what are your priorities and how do you measure success. What systems do you have that are currently integrated and what data do you have today that you can work with so you can implement this quickly? Next, work on a roadmap. Think about how to optimize the user experience over time. And lastly, come in with the understanding that this is a continuous learning process. You will need to review the effectiveness of your optimization efforts and be prepared to adjust and refine as needed in order to increase your conversion rate. To illustrate, let's pretend you work for Crosby Consulting, a fictional B2B global management consulting firm looking to grow your business's healthcare sector. Meet Linda Parker. Linda is a senior director of operations of a well-known Chicago hospital. Linda is a key decision maker and the type of client you'd love to bring on board. Linda is actively looking to hire a healthcare consulting firm to help reduce costs and improve quality and efficiency of her hospital. As many B2B buyers do, Linda starts the initial vetting process by doing online searches. She researches a ton of different healthcare consulting companies, including Crosby Consulting. At this point, Linda is viewing the site anonymously. And you don't know Linda yet, but it would be really helpful if you knew Linda was looking to hire a firm like yours. We know that face-to-face interactions are very important. To illustrate, Adam Jones, a Crosby Consulting sales manager, attends a conference and meets our prospective client, Linda. Adam and Linda have a conversation about Linda's interest in process improvements that Crosby Consulting recently completed. They exchange cards, but at this point, Linda has not shared with Adam that she's looking to hire a healthcare consulting firm. Next, Adam enters Linda's contact details into the Crosby Consulting CRM tool, which is Microsoft Dynamics. In this user journey example, I mentioned Crosby Consulting uses Microsoft Dynamics as a CRM tool, but just keep in mind that you could switch that out with any other CRM tool like Salesforce, as long as it's supported by Sitecore. So in addition to the basic information about Linda's contacts, Adam also includes details about their meeting and then classifies Linda as a lead. Because Crosby Consulting uses Sitecore experience profile and has a CRM integration, that information that Adam enters into Dynamics flows into Sitecore. Next, Adam logs into Sitecore to send Linda a follow-up email. Included in that email is a case study that he had mentioned to Linda at the conference, and he also includes a link to an upcoming webinar on a similar healthcare topic that Linda's interested in. When Linda receives the email, she clicks on that case study and reads through the details. She also looks at the link to the upcoming webinar and considers attending. Now that Linda had clicked on that Sitecore email link, behind the scenes, Sitecore has the information it needs to identify Linda. And as Linda is exploring the different pages of the Crosby Consulting site, that information is recorded into her experience profile. In addition to website activity, the details that are pulled in from the Dynamics CRM tool are also put in that same experience profile. And even the past website activity history, when Linda was an anonymous user doing her initial vetting of vendors, that information is also pulled into the experience profile so you can see the full picture. Going forward, when Linda visits the Crosby Consulting website, targeted relevant content based on Linda's interest and the details about her in the CRM tool are displayed on the personalized areas of the website. This type of personalization is a really effective way to allow your internal marketing team to target individuals with related content. This means that Linda can view the content she wants quicker, which results in an overall great experience for Linda. Sitecore's ability to see the full picture of the customer's interactions with your company is very powerful information for your internal sales team. Adam receives an alert when Linda clicked on the link from the email that he sent. When he looks at the experience profile, based on Linda's activity, he notices that she's interested in a particular area of the healthcare industry that he wasn't aware of before. Also, by looking at her website activity patterns, you can see her activity matches the persona of a user looking to hire a healthcare consulting firm. This becomes more clear when Adam looks at the analytics of Linda and sees the actual pages she viewed and the keywords that she searched on throughout the site. Adam is gaining very meaningful information by looking at that 360-degree view of Linda's online behavior from even before he met her. In Dynamics CRM, Adam updates Linda's status from a lead to a prospective lead, and that information passes through to Linda's Sitecore profile. Adam then decides to schedule a meeting with Linda to talk about her needs, and now he knows where to focus the conversation. Internally, the marketing team has gained valuable insight into the type of content that a prospective client like Linda finds interesting. Sitecore can automate marketing steps to reduce the workload on your and marketing teams. Based on Linda's recent website viewing activity patterns, specifically viewing an upcoming webinar page, Linda's Sitecore user activity is automatically put into a Sitecore engagement plan. This engagement plan uses conditional personalization to trigger activities to help keep Linda engaged with Crosby Consulting. Now let's fast forward 1 week from when Linda viewed the upcoming webinar link from Adam's email. Linda has viewed the upcoming webinar page, but she hasn't registered yet, so that triggers an auto-generated email to Linda reminding her to register. Linda gets that email and she goes ahead and registers and actually appreciates getting that reminder since she was intending to register but didn't get around to it. Now let's fast forward to 2 days before the webinar. Like other email tools, Linda receives an auto-generated email reminders about the date and time of the webinar. What Sitecore does is through marketing automation, that process is able to send additional auto-generated emails based on Linda's interests and profiles. So because Linda hasn't visited the website in a few weeks, and because her dynamic CRM classification is still a prospective lead, the engagement plan kicks in and a second auto-generated email is sent to Linda with a new case study on a healthcare topic of interest that she hasn't viewed yet. Linda opens that email and clicks on the link to the new case study. Once she's on that case study page, Sitecore recognizes Linda and personalizes the highlights to include additional blog posts that she could be interested in. This keeps Linda engaged and she starts viewing the site for about 15 minutes. This then, through the engagement plan, starts triggering an alert to Adam of Linda's increased website activity. Since Adam is already logged into Dynamic CRM, he looks up Linda's profile and sees her website activity and, again, the full picture of all the details with Linda. Just keep in mind that Adam also has the ability to log into Sitecore to see the same website activity on the experience profile. Next, Adam calls Linda for a follow-up call to discuss her needs. This journey demonstrates that successful digital experiences help strengthen relationships over time. Sitecore is really powerful. Think about how much better Sitecore has made Linda's experience, both online and offline, in dealing with Crosby Consulting. We saved her time by unnecessarily clicking around the site, by servicing up the content she's looking for through personalization. And in emails, we're sending her fresh content that we know she hasn't viewed yet. We also remind her of a webinar that she wanted to attend but didn't register for yet. And we contacted her at the right time when she was ready to start talking to vendors. Through Sitecore, we help build effective, meaningful relationships with prospects like Linda to help build customers for life. Next, Mike will continue the user journey beyond the company's main website. Mike?
Thanks, Ethel. As Ethel mentioned, Crosby Consulting is looking to grow their healthcare sector. To do so, they acquired Skutta Health. Skutta Health is a healthcare consulting firm. Their website was built on WordPress. The problem with their website is we need to bring their website under the main brand umbrella of Crosby Consulting. But the problem is we have no budget or resources to do so. In today's world, we face the challenge of a disconnected experience across websites. It's difficult to provide a consistent experience across multiple platforms. We want a consistent experience across all channels and websites and one solid view into customer interactions. Getting back to the Skutta Health website, we want that to participate in a single view of customer interactions. We want to track visits and clicks and have them all tie into existing campaigns, goals, and events. And we want our customers to have the same personalized experience as Crosby Consulting. Luckily, Sitecore Federated Experience Manager does this for us. Let's go into how to configure this. So we first navigate to the Federated Experience Manager. From there, we're presented with a list of all the sites that are managed within Federated Experience Manager. Again, these are all the external websites. To add our new site, we click Add External Website. From there, we're presented with a few fields that we need to fill out. Once the name and the website domain is filled in, we're presented with a single-line script that needs to be added to the Skutta Health site. Once that single-line script is added, user visits will start to be tracked. We can then optionally decide to capture click actions, and we can personalize content by adding placeholders and adding content from the main Sitecore site. Getting back to the user journey, Linda finds the site through Google search. She navigates and explores that site, and her behavior is recorded in her experience profile. Adam's able to use these additional insights to personalize further communication with Linda. As you can see, Federated Experience Manager is fully integrated with the Sitecore Experience Platform, and non-Sitecore sites are able to benefit from Sitecore capabilities. Let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about disaster recovery. We just spent the last half an hour or so exploring all Sitecore has to offer, and Sitecore has amazing capabilities. It can help personalize and track the experiences that our clients are having, and this helps build and grow relationships. We all know that half the battle is making sure that those experiences are actually available for clients to engage with, and this is why disaster recovery is so important. One North has researched and architected a strong and healthy disaster recovery environment for Sitecore, and we've got a few available options for clients. Before I break down these options, let's talk a little bit about the different environments. The first environment we have is the content management or content editing environment. In that environment, content managers manage the content. The second environment we have is content delivery. In the content delivery environment, the public-facing website is actually hosted. When a content manager edits content, again, they do so in the content editing environment. Once they're done editing this content, they'll typically publish that content out, and that content is published out to the content delivery environment. That content is published out to each of the content delivery environments if you happen to have more than one. So let's keep this in mind when we talk about disaster recovery. Sitecore has a very flexible architecture with multiple deployment options. For one, we can separate the content editing and the content delivery servers. We can also have multiple content delivery servers that are geographically separated. One North's hosting environment separates the content editing and the content delivery servers. Because of this, we can have separate disaster recovery plans for each of those. We treat content delivery at a higher priority for recovery simply because that hosts a public-facing site. One North is designed as a robust disaster recovery solution. We're actually the largest provider of managed hosting services for Sitecore and Azure. We leverage Microsoft's Azure data centers, which exist in regions across the globe. Because of this, if we have a problem in one region, we're able to switch over to another region that's currently running. We offer different levels of disaster recovery, and those impact the recovery time and how old the data is. So let's go into covering some of these plans. The first plan that we offer is a standard disaster recovery plan for content delivery. It offers a fast recovery time. And the way this works is there's a secondary environment that's powered off. When we detect an issue in the primary environment, we'll power on the secondary environment and restore data from a nightly backup into that environment. Once we're able to determine that that environment is up and running, we'll manually reroute the traffic to that environment. And this plan is included with our standard offering. We also offer the same plan for content editing. It has the exact same features as content delivery. For those clients that want the fastest recovery time that guarantees immediate recovery, we have the advanced disaster recovery for content delivery. In this plan, we have a secondary environment that's on standby. Data is kept in sync between the primary and secondary environments through the basic Sitecore publishing operations. Once we detect a problem in the primary environment, we automatically reroute the traffic to the secondary environment. This plan is offered at an additional cost. Today we covered a lot. Patrick discussed the Sitecore Experience Platform. We also covered in more detail the Experience Profile, CRM integrations, and the Federated Experience Manager. Ethel and I outlined how this all plays out in the user journey. And finally, I concluded with disaster recovery options. I'm going to hand this back now to Kayla to lead the Q&A session. Kayla?
Great. Thanks, Mike. Just a reminder, if you have a question, you can submit it using the chat function located either in the lower right-hand corner of your screen or it's in the green drop-down bar at the top of your screen. We're going to take just a minute to collect the questions we've received, and then we'll be right back to start the Q&A session. All right, so our first question, when Patrick was talking about personalization, were you talking about outside people or people within your firm when you mentioned visitors to your site? Patrick?
Yeah, so it could be either or. And so depending upon if you have a public-facing site or if you've set this up as using Sitecore as an internal portal, it's anybody who is coming to the kind of the external site of Sitecore. I wasn't necessarily talking about the admin interfaces or anything like that. So yeah, it's whoever your site is built to service.
Great. Our next question, is email the only way for Sitecore to identify a user?
No, not at all. So Sitecore, to identify a user, Sitecore has well, let me step back. Sitecore actually has two different kind of classifications of users. One is anonymous and one is what we call identified or identified contact. Anonymous is just anybody who comes to the site and navigates and, you know, clicks on pages and links and so forth. The identified contact is somebody that can be uniquely identified, and typically that's identified from email address, maybe a username and password. It's up to the organization who's developing the site to go ahead and identify those contacts or to create a form or a mechanism that identifies those contacts. Email is not really one of those things. Typically, our customers are identifying customers or having them become a known or identified customer by having them fill out some kind of membership request form or a contact us form, something that asks for that unique piece of information.
Great. Ethel is actually going to take our next question. Where can I find more details on how the different features work in Sitecore?
The two main sites that I like to use are the Sitecore documentation site, doc.sitecore.net. The other site that I find pretty helpful is the Master Sitecore YouTube channel. And Sitecore also provides a variety of official Sitecore training sessions. So if you just go to sitecore.net and click on that Learn section and go to the Education Training section, you can see all the different training sessions that are available. The other thing I want to mention is Sitecore has a helpful technical blog section off sitecore.net. And actually our co-presenter, Mike Skutta, is a featured blogger there, but they have a lot of great content and tips and best practices on how to use the features.
Great. Our next question is going to be for Mike. Can you customize the fields that display in the experience profile?
Yeah, you actually can. Sitecore, the latest version of Sitecore is built on a framework called Speak. And using that Speak framework, we're actually able to customize the fields and the views within the experience profile. For example, we can add additional tabs and fields to that. Another thing to mention is we can also add additional data that's actually logged to the experience profile as well.
And so we've gotten a lot of questions. A lot of them are pretty personal in nature, so we want to take a moment after the call to respond individually via email, so you can definitely look out for those. We'll also be sending out a recording of the webinar via email as well. And you're more than welcome to reach out to marketing@onenorth.com with any further questions you might have from today's webinar. Thanks everyone for joining and have a great rest of your day.